We all have that one friend who just likes to do things the complicated way in life. Maybe they're the kind of bloke who insists on putting IKEA furniture together without the instructions. Maybe they just refuse to use Google Maps in a new city. Or maybe they're just that one show-off who has to reverse park at every given opportunity. Oh, wait a second, that's me. Anyway, there's people who like to do stuff the hard way because they feel slightly better about themselves afterwards. Today, we are cosplaying one of those pains in the asses in Planetside. G'day there once again viewers, this is your mate Kamikaze78 here, and today we are once again returning to the Time to Gear Up series. So, for those of you who are newer to the channel, allow me to give you a quick overview to the tomfoolery you're about to witness here. This here is the Time to Gear Up series, the series where you guys get to activate those brain cells of yours to drop some loadout suggestions in the comment section down below. The highest rated loadout by you, the community, will be selected for the next episode when it comes the time that I build up the confidence to have a look at the comment section and start to question once again why the hell I let this continue. Regardless, your suggestions can be as goofy as making me run both Carapace and Bionics at the same time. Don't suggest that, by the way, I don't have Bionics yet. Or a loadout as serious that pits me running a 10 KDR 2 KPM session over an hour. Also, don't do that. I'm not a god tier player either, you will be disappointed. But yeah, today we are without question leaning on more the goofy side, and it's not even the haha funny goofy fella kind of goofy. It's more of a the fuck is this man doing kind of goofy. I pit this question as an opener, ladies and gentlemen. How do you combine two classes into one in Planetside 2? Well, today we are using an NC Heavy Assault loadout coming to us from Ishinaga titled Smoke and Mirrors. A fitting name for both the playstyle of the loadout and just how my enjoyment here would also just be smoke and mirrors while filming this episode. And look, sure, it may be a Heavy Assault, but it really acts a bit more like an infiltrator instead. So let's just get into it. Now, normally I'd start off by quickly mentioning the primary weapon of choice here, but I want to make this clear for those who are a little confused as to why my game is currently being filmed in a monochrome setting. We are running the Infravision implant today, which is an exceptional implant that grants you permanent thermal vision as long as it's equipped, as long as you aren't in a vehicle, which I'll admit can be nice, right up until an infiltrator happens to cloak in front of you. I feel very much like a Bethesda NPC dealing with a stealthing player every time this happens. And look, I know I've made that joke in the past in this series before, but it is good content and I'm just going to roll with it anyway. In addition, we're also running the sensor shield implant just to try and get ourselves a little closer to that stealthy infiltrator-esque approach that we're aiming for. Ishinaga actually wanted us to use minor cloak here, but also gave us the secondary option should we not have it. Full transparency, I do have that implant, but I don't need an implant or waiting for said implant to activate to tell me when to go AFK for a bit. I can do that myself without an implant forcing that decision on me. And well, the function of Minor Cloak is very much a AFK simulator, so I figured for the sake of entertaining content, I decided to forego that implant in favor of the previously mentioned sensor shield. But let's get into the tool that, you know, actually lets us kill things with our good old Predator vision here today. We are using the Warden, and I have to say, this could be the first time this weapon is featured on this series, so that's a little special right there. But this little bundle of tricks can actually be pretty devastating in the right hands. Scaringly potent in a CQC environment if you can chain those headshots. But while the core weapon here is important, we also have in our hot little hands here the smoke underbarrel grenade launcher, the suppressor, and the high velocity ammunition equipped on this weapon as well. Are you starting to see where the infravision comes into play now? Yeah? Okay, good. Now, just because close quarters combat is more of a suggestion and a concept that we don't really understand here, our secondary of choice is also the NS44L Blackhand, aka the Commissioner that had the identity crisis. So far so good, right? Well, if you follow me on Twitter, then you may have seen this little tweet that I posted during the production process of this video, which leads us onto the next slot of this build, or the lack thereof to be more accurate. As you guys can see, both our tools slot and, more importantly, our ability slot are listed as not applicable. Nope, I can't physically make the slots empty, but I'm also not allowed to use either slot at all while using this loadout. And just to ensure I didn't slip, I unbound my use ability keybind from the game entirely. So don't say I don't do anything for you guys, because I felt a chill go down my spine when I made that keybind change on the first time. And now look, I'm kind of glad I didn't stream these recording sessions, because you would have just seen the raw, unfiltered panic that came every time I pressed my ability keybind after years of building that muscle memory to have nothing happen. And to have nothing happen, well, let's just say it's like, you know, father figure abandonment? I don't know. For the launcher, I just equipped the Swarm and proceeded to simply forget that this was a combined arms game and not look at vehicles. So that was fun. But anyway, with the big old overcomplicated bombshell out of the way, we also have the NSX Fujin in our grenade slot. Now, the original intent here was to have smoke grenades equipped if I had the ASP perk, but I don't, so we are stuck with these cheeky little throwing knives, which I guess sort of became my primary way of telling people that they had breached my COVID social distancing bubble, so that was nice. As a side note, big thanks to Ishinaga for offering alternatives for ASP perks and exceptional implants. Take notes, everyone else making implant and loadout suggestions. For our suit slot, it was up to me, so I picked advanced shield capacitor, and we had at least something meta going for us in the utility slot in the form of the medkit. So that right there is the smoke and mirrors loadout. Thanks to Ishinaga for having the permanent imprint on my mental health now, for making me go through this. I feel like you at least owe me a personal taxi ride to the insane asylum now, but we'll work the details out later there, my man. Now, if you are sitting at home right now, for some reason whatsoever, in the mood to make your life a little harder than it has to be, and you want to run this concoction of a loadout, then all you need is anything between 2,376 to 3,896 certs, enough swell encounters with RNGs to unlock the respective implants, and a bit of grinding to complete the respective directive to unlock the throwing knives. But with all that said and done, what you have here is easily one of the cheapest loadouts from a cert cost perspective we've ever covered on this series. But I have to ask, is it really an achievement with half the fucking loadout missing? It's like bragging about doing a speed run on a surgery, but then forgetting to stitch the patient back up. It doesn't quite work that way, doesn't it? But anyway, Ishinaga had a bit more to say here today in regards to what exactly we would be doing here with this monstrosity, and they state, while some may hate infiltrators, some love them. And maybe just a little too much. Remembering the words, where there's a will, there's a way, your friendly neighborhood heavy assault has embraced their inner infiltrator. Not letting their hulking size or lack of a cloaking device stop them, this loadout is crafted with sneakiness in mind. Being an honorary infiltrator, this heavy assault focuses on long-range engagement and silent melee assassinations. However, your weapon rolls are reverse of the standard, with your primary being used for CQC engagements and your smoke clouds, and your secondary being used for sniping. Use your underbarrel smoke launcher and, if unlocked, your ASP smoke grenades to quickly disappear from enemies' line of vision. Finally, being a stealthy boy, you are not allowed to use explosives of any kind, including your rocket launcher or any overshield abilities. And look, I just want to take a few moments here to focus on the whole where there's a will, there's a way here, because look, I consider myself a pretty optimistic fellow, right? In fact, some would say I'm stubbornly optimistic, and I find myself thinking, yes, this will end up working eventually, or I find a way to make the process more efficient for me in the long run when trying to work out this thing or whatever I'm doing. Something along those lines. But I also like to think that I can identify when I'm doing the equivalent of dragging my face against a cheese grater and, stop to reevaluate the situation. But no, in this particular situation, I didn't have that freedom of choice. I was under simple instruction to just live life the hard way for a few gameplay sessions. I tell you, I have a lot of people question my validity when it comes to giving infantry-focused tips and tricks when they look at my stats. It's shit like this that ruins my stats on my character. I promise. No, you're not buying that? Okay, whatever. But seriously, this is the living, breathing definition of making life harder when you simply don't have to. Not having a heavy shield on a heavy assault was just painful. And then having to play like an infiltrator while not having the core ability that lets an infiltrator play like an infiltrator in the first place just made me want to scream on multiple occasions. In fact, my neighbors probably heard me once or twice. And the base gear that I had access to wasn't all bad. Like, I don't mind the Warden when I'm using it on a loadout that just works. It was more of the pure frustration that came from actually missing gear items that drove such anger levels to the point where I started rushing the Warden into situations that had no place being, and then being even more frustrated with my game. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but this build probably tilted me the most out of any of the others that I've used as of late. So congrats, guys. You broke me. One part of the loadout that I actually thought I would enjoy more was the synergy between having an underbarrel smoke grenade launcher and the infravision implant, because, plonking smoke everywhere and being able to see through it when others can't is great in theory, until you realize how easily smoke is countered in this game. At least that's how it felt, because every time I fired this stuff into a location to conceal some movement or try to clog up a choke point, I was beamed through it without hesitation. So it was hard to justify going through that extra step of effort effort, but I did stick to my guns, which also might have been a tad risky because every fight I went to, the yell chat was constantly berating the bloke who was launching the bloody smoke grenades everywhere. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and say it, I think the only consistently effective thing about this loadout was not the smoke and infravision combo, but the smoke slowly shaving years off my fellow Araxians' lifespans by simple smoke inhalation. Or do nanites fix that too? It's safe to say that the entire time playing this loadout, I just felt like this picture of a bear hiding behind a tree. You know, he's got the right idea, but yeah, look, he ain't fooling no one, and that's exactly how I felt playing this loadout. Either way, guys, that's going to bring today's episode of the Time to Gear Up series to a close. Thank you guys for leaving your suggestions, as always, in regards to loadouts for me to use. As always, if you guys want to see another loadout used by me, leave it in the comment section down below, or vote with your like on which loadout you'd like to see me use in-game. The more suggestions, the merrier, guys. I love seeing what you guys can come up with as far as creativity is concerned. If you guys like the video, be sure to backhand the like button. It goes a long way to supporting the channel. And if you're brand new, consider subscribing. It also keeps you up to date with whenever we go live on YouTube, as well as whenever we release a brand new video. If you guys really enjoyed the content and you want to double down, consider a channel membership. Also helps us out a lot, and it means we can keep doing videos like this a bit more often. Once again, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Peace out, and I will see you guys all next time. Peace out, guys. Have a good one.